Michelle Miller from CBS Saturday Morning. Welcome to The Dish. Today we make ourselves at home in the Midwest and meet chefs marrying classic comfort food with contemporary flair. We head to the Motor City, where an Algerian-born chef weaves the flavors of home with the Asian ingredients she discovered during culinary school in China, creating pastries that are just as delicious as they are beautiful. Then we visit the Twin Cities to meet a chef who returned to his roots in the heartland to open a restaurant serving up local flavors with French precision after years working in high-end kitchens in New York and California. But first, we head to Madison, Wisconsin, where this restaurant is inspired by Midwestern supper clubs dating from the Prohibition era. Diners can enjoy nostalgic Midwest favorites, including kielbasa with cheese and chocolate Swiss cake rolls. With a modern twist, of course. Dana Jacobson sat down with the culinary power couple behind the restaurant, housed in a beautifully restored 1903 train depot.
So you're gonna go first to 31 with these two salmon, 1 and 2.
Chef Joe Papich spent his career working in some of the country's most prestigious kitchens, but he's built a home at the Harvey House.
Put all this stuff back every single time in the same spot.
The restaurant he and his wife Shayna opened in Madison, Wisconsin, where the couple pairs their culinary chops with their Midwestern roots.
This is Midwest hospitality at its finest. You could not have this place without kielbasa somehow on the menu.
I mean, some sort of cheesy sausage is out there and it had to come in here for sure.
For this seasonal soup, Papich squeezes cheese fondue over peas, then dusts it with mint powder.
This is so good. That mint, it's like just the hint of mint.
Joe and Shayna are something of a culinary power couple, each graduates of East Coast culinary schools who've worked alongside dining royalty. But there's only one cook in this kitchen.
Do you miss being back there ever?
I do not. I love the design. I love sort of the general hospitality. I love creating relationships with guests.
I like cooking, so.
And you are really good at it.
Thanks.
The Harvey House is inspired by Midwest supper clubs, which date back to the Prohibition era. Its updated menu features an Instagram-worthy relish tray, seasonal vegetables, and an aerated whipped ranch with dill, served with a smoked trout dip and toast. Cannelloni with a charred eggplant bechamel, topped with a lacquer of cheese fondue, fruit, and vegetables. Ribeye steak with a pomme puree.
A passed on legendary potato puree from French Laundry. So there's only one way to make pomme puree, and that's the way we do it, and we'll never make it another way.
Again, I'm destroying the work of art.
Oh, you're supposed to.
And Lake Superior walleye, an ode to a fish fry.
And then we get lots of questions about how we get that skin so crispy. So it's just a very thinly sliced piece of rye bread.
Yep. So it's like you're emulating skin, but you're adding just another flavor to
The crunch.
It's better than skin.
Buttery toast.
Yeah, buttery toast.
Joe and Shayna's partnership goes back 16 years, starting as strictly business at New York's Gramercy Tavern.
He was my boss. Yep. And it was my first job out of culinary school.
When did boss go to, I'd like this to not just be boss working
Not for a long time, actually.
Yeah, not for a long time. Can I get cheddar mousse over?
Joe left New York for the West Coast, eventually becoming sous chef for Thomas Keller at the French Laundry. Shayna went to grad school and did stints for the likes of Dan Barber and Alice Waters, including at her edible schoolyard project.
Yeah, I was already at French Laundry. My friend was asking me how he can elevate school lunch in the Bay Area. And I was single at the time, and I was like, I know a woman that knows so much about this.
Ulterior motives.
I'm gonna talk to her about that. Yeah, before we knew it, I think we were married, and
They nearly opened a restaurant in Napa Valley before abruptly moving back to Shayna's hometown.
The night before we were supposed to sign the lease on a restaurant space in St. Helena, where we were living at the time, we were walking around and we were like, I don't think this is the right move. I was pregnant with Max, our first son. We were very, very close to my family, and Joe's family lives in Indiana, and felt like it would be
good spot to like go to.
To find just the right space for a restaurant, the couple found inspiration far from Wisconsin.
We spent a little bit of time in Europe after Joe finished at the French Laundry. After having been in France and seeing all of these incredible,
Old,
Historic
historic,
buildings.
yeah, just like very romantic, but you're like, okay, we're gonna go back to the U.S. and go back there.
Nothing's that old.
Nothing's really that old, so.
Until they discovered Madison's historic train depot. Built in 1903, all but abandoned since it went out of service more than 50 years ago.
We came in here and it was like,
we want to do this.
This is where it's gonna be.
Joe and Shayna spent 3 years excavating and renovating the old train stop into a 5,000 square foot dining destination.
This was the train platform where people caught the trains, and we put the terrazzo floor in.
And I guess, what would a train station be without the train?
Exactly, the train car.
This is where we're headed.
So we do private dining on here.
Okay.
It's a great place for holiday parties or birthday parties, something a little more intimate. This track that's laid down here is not operational,
Okay.
but there is an operational truck on the other side,
Oh,
so
get
trains
out.
do come by. So when you're sitting on here a couple
You get the
times a night, you do
vibration.
get a train, which is fun.
Oh, that's crazy.
They named the restaurant mostly as an homage to Fred Harvey, who opened a chain of eateries along train routes in the late 1800s
Come cyclone, come earthquake, the people gotta eat.
and inspired the 1946 film The Harvey Girls, starring Judy Garland.
And they were called the Harvey Houses. But my paternal grandfather is also named Harvey, and so we felt like it was a very nice connection.
Balancing it all is hard work, but with help from their staff and family, these two make it look like a piece of cake.
This is like a little piece of nostalgia.
Sure is.
There's no tinfoil for me to unwrap.
Yeah, there's no battling a package.
In this case, a classic chocolate Swiss roll and a strawberries and cream pavlova.
Everything good in all of this.
Oh yeah, totally.
Thank you for joining us.
Up next, a chef proving you don't need a restaurant to cook like a pro. High-end meets home cooking at Minneapolis restaurant Spoon and Stable, owned by native son and a James Beard award-winning chef, Gavin Kaysen. He was inspired to become a chef by baking with his grandmother, and some of her simple, heartfelt recipes are featured in his cookbook, At Home, filled with dishes he shares with his family and the thousands who watched his online cooking classes during the pandemic. Here's Dana Jacobson.
At Spoon and Stable in downtown Minneapolis,
It's a little different than cooking for my kids.
Chef Gavin Kaysen exquisitely pairs his expertise in French cuisine
Don't fire yet.
with Midwest seasonality
Along on one Brussels.
and sensibilities.
And so the chips that we serve with this are these really great Soca chips.
Case in point, Kaysen's bison tartare.
Isn't that great? So we've had that on since we opened, which has just been a really fun dish.
Kaysen knows the Midwest palate because he shares it. Spoon and Stable is the native son's triumphant return after an acclaimed run at Danielle's Café Boulud in New York, where he earned a James Beard Award for Rising Star Chef.
All right.
So pasta course. So it's a caramelly pasta stuffed with celery root, lots of lemon zest, hazelnuts, fried rosemary, and pecorino romano. Enjoy, enjoy.
He'd earn a second Beard Award for Best Chef Midwest at Spoon and Stable, which instantly upped the Twin Cities culinary game.
So duck breast.
Kaysen dry ages his duck for 10 days and serves it with mung greens, hoisin puree, and shinko pear.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
The happy dance.
It was, kind of, that
was the
was.
happy dance.
After a honey and cream cake for dessert, we dished about the question Kaysen says he's asked most often.
Do I cook at home?
So,
A lot. I cook a lot at home.
even though you spend the bulk of your evening here, that's still enjoyable.
So different. You know, here it's full chef white apron,
Right.
formality in a way, discipline in every sense of the word. At home, it's freedom, peace, and just joy. Gotta cube your butter.
Here, he gets to cook for himself, his family,
I know.
and best friend, Rosie, who eagerly serves as a taste tester.
I'm gonna kind of show you how I cook when I'm at home.
2.5 years ago, when Kaysen and his diners were stuck at home, he began to cook for them remotely,
Hey everyone, welcome to GK at Home.
hosting a series of online cooking classes.
Here's the deal. And we did a little over 150 people on that first class. The second class, there's 300 people. The third class, there's 600 people. The fourth class, there's over 1,000 people. Butcher the chicken, go slowly. Okay, I'm gonna go slowly. But we could cook together, we could laugh together, we could like just escape from what was outside and what was the distraction and focus on just this nourishment and this idea of restoring our souls through the power of food.
By the end, Kaysen had cataloged roughly 80 recipes.
And as a result, we have sort of this diamond that came from it.
He mined the results for his first cookbook, aptly titled At Home. Kaysen divides the book by the 4 seasons.
This is fantastic.
Dinner at
Just
home.
your normal afternoon spread, right?
A little casual spread.
For us, Kaysen whipped up a taste from each. Crispy chicken thighs with vegetables and endive salad for the fall. Pulled pork tacos for summer. For wintertime, cavatelli pasta with squash and Brussels sprouts, and his grandmother Dorothy's pot roast.
Which she made for us all the time. The key for Grandma Dorothy's pot roast, which is in the book, is that she uses rutabaga as part of the vegetables. So it's not a potato starch.
Okay.
So it slowly thickens the sauce a little bit, and it also makes it a little bit sweet.
And this is also one of the most popular dishes
At Spoon and Stable.
at Spoon and Stable.
Really, it's so nostalgic for me.
Do you have a favorite recipe that's in the book? Is that, I mean, obviously hers have a special place in your heart.
What makes me feel good about the book, honestly, is that like everything that's in it, I have cooked at home. And I still cook it at home.
Kaysen shares those meals right here with some of his favorite dining companions, wife Linda, sons Emil, Julius, and Crosby, and of course, Rosie.
By the way, Rosie wants more. The dog has been the star of the day.
I mean, Rosie-
And she wants more.
Rosie wants everything she can have. She knows the jam.
Almost as hard for me to resist. Dessert from the spring section, sunbuckle cookies, another recipe from Grandma Dorothy.
So this was the first thing that I made with her when I was 7. This was sort of like the epiphany dish for me.
This is why we have you as
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Kaysen says that simple cookie is what sparked his interest in hospitality.
I was probably the only grandson in the kitchen with her, cooking with her all the time and baking. And I just remember everybody stopping and running inside and having this incredible amount of joy and excitement. And I thought to myself, like, 7 ingredients did that? And it was a really, really pivotal moment of my life. I knew then subconsciously that I wanted to do something in service for others the rest of my life.
A career that started at age 15 making Subway sandwiches has allowed Kaysen to feed others while nourishing his own soul, from prestigious kitchens in Europe and New York to his own now in Minneapolis.
True.
What did your grandmother think?
She was always blown away with the fact that the cookies got me to this point of like, now I love to cook. It just really warmed her heart always to know that food, which is what she taught me, really gave me a spirit of my life.
That love of food, has any of that changed for you now, working in the industry as long as you have?
No, I love it so much. It's just so great to be able to cook for people and to serve people.
Whether it's at the restaurant or here on a Sunday.
Yeah. The only difference here is there's a little bit less stress of putting out 200 plates of food. You know, I got to put out 6 plates of food. It's fun because for the boys, they'll be downstairs playing with their friends and come up and it's like, a spread on the table. And they're like, yeah, this is normal.
Everybody's coming to the Kaysen
Right,
house.
everyone's, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. It's okay. I'm happy to do it.
Up next, pastries without borders. No passport required. In the heart of Detroit, Warda Bugataya combines French techniques with global flavors to create what she calls pastries without borders. The James Beard award-winning chef began her culinary journey in her mother's kitchen in Algeria and has traveled and lived around the world. What started as a way to soothe homesickness has bloomed into vibrant businesses where every dish reflects her story, heritage, and the culture she's experienced along the way. Here again is Dana Jacobson.
I don't know where to start.
Where would you start with a spread like this? 10 dishes, each one more beautiful and tempting than the next. That's the dilemma when you visit Warda Bugataya at her self-named patisserie in Detroit.
Should I start with the mousse since you said, so that's the first thing you mastered?
That's the first thing that I mastered, yeah.
I dove right in with chocolate mousse, which is topped with date cream and a coffee ganache.
So you want to go deep.
All the way down.
All the way down. Grab all the 3 layers together.
Oh my God. How do you not gain 1,000 pounds?
The chocolate doesn't have any sugar in it. The date cream is sweetened with dates. And then the coffee ganache has honey.
Even more decadent, her Maritosi.
So this is an Italian classic breakfast, actually.
The soft brioche oozing with whipped mascarpone, chocolate, and hazelnut.
Oh my gosh, look at that. The pastry is so light.
It's like a pillow.
Yes.
Yes. This is what I want to put my head on at the end of the day. Maritosi.
There's also a lemon tart.
I wish this is beautiful too.
Thank you. It is a lemon curd topped with mascarpone vanilla. We call it a cloud.
We have a pillow and a cloud.
Absolutely.
Appropriate for Warda, who's been floating on cloud 9 since being named Outstanding Pastry Chef at the 2022 James Beard Awards.
It felt like unreal completely. Now that it happened, I wish I could go back and just kind of like
Take it
savor
in?
it.
Yeah.
But it was just so fast. It was very fast. It was beautiful.
But Warda Bugataya didn't start baking for the accolades.
It was for me a way to feel less homesick, a way to stay in touch with my mom.
She grew up in Algeria, learning to bake from her mom while earning a formal degree in French literature. In 2004, her husband Mohammed's job brought the couple to Michigan, where Warda began baking at home.
And even my husband, who's also from Algeria, it was for us, like once you get at home, you are not alone.
It's the flavors and the tastes of home. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely.
When Mohammed's job sent them to China, Warda went back to school, the Paul Bocuse Culinary School in Shanghai. They moved back to Detroit in 2015. Warda soon began selling her baked goods at a downtown farmer's market. Then, in 2021, she renovated and opened her own shop in Detroit's Cass Corridor. Her patisserie has helped brighten up a city long known for urban decay.
You have a beautiful way that you've described it before of no borders.
Yes, it's pastries without borders. Yeah. I didn't want to be put inside a box, and I didn't want to choose between all the homes and all the places that we lived at and we loved, and so we just wanted to bring all of that under one roof. And so it evolved here into learning how to bake with rhubarb, which is something that I've never grew up with.
Yeah.
Learning to bake with berries, and then in Shanghai it was also same thing, like getting familiar with ingredients, with matcha, with mango, with black sesame. It was just ingredients that made the baking change throughout the years.
Yeah.
You can taste her journey in her financiers.
We have black sesame with mango, chocolate with salted caramel, matcha strawberry, and then hibiscus passion fruit.
I was taken by surprise by the hibiscus and
This one
passion
is,
fruit.
You know what's funny? I might like that one the most.
That one, like, it got a punch.
Yeah.
We should mention there's more to Warda than just the sweets.
Our Greek torta is our like year-round
Yeah.
torta staple. And then we have the seasonal one, and it all depends on what's fresh, what's in season in Michigan.
When we visited, it was shakshuka with braised tomatoes, cumin, garlic, and a poached egg.
I'd have that for breakfast every day.
Absolutely.
When people come in here and you get to see people enjoying them in that moment, what is that like for you?
It never gets old, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's still precious, and it's still something that, like, makes your heart like jump a little bit. Anything else?
Warda's Patisserie is built on family, from her tight-knit staff to her husband and 2 teenage daughters, and of course, her own mother.
Has she been here to see
Not
this?
yet. Not yet.
What has
Hopefully
she,
one day.
Yeah. What has she said about obviously knowing what you've created?
I actually went home less than a year ago, and I took all of that back with me. Everything survived. And she was very excited to try everything because she follows me on Instagram. She knows everything that's happening. So, and this is also like something that has been also like a dream of hers. I used to joke with her, like maybe one day when you retire from teaching, maybe we can open something together. So for her to see that it's as if we did it together. Yeah, it's a little piece of her. It is, absolutely is.
There are people, I think, that will hear your story and say this is the American immigrant story. Do you see it that way?
It definitely is, even more so of having the community here that believed in us. And we love it when so many of our guests come over and it does resonate with their background or something they had during their travels.
Yeah.
And so that's what we wanted to create.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news, stream us right here on CBS News 24/7. I'm Michelle Miller. We'll see you next time for another helping of The Dish.